Welcome to video lecture on software architecture and design pattern, module 2, analysis of a system. So we have discussed in the previous video sequence diagram on register new member, and so we had three algorithms steps: create a member object, add the member object to the list of member, return the result of the operation, and we had there are two options to register the new members. Similarly, we had seen that the sequence diagram for add book. So next we are going to discuss issue books, the sequence diagram for issue book. So when a book is to be checked out, the clerk interact with the user interface to input the user ID. So user must bring the ID. The system has to first check the validity of the user. Again, so here we need to accomplish by this invoking a method search membership on the library. Two options are going to suggest themselves for implementing the search. How we are going to implement this search? Option 1. So get an enumeration of all the member object from the member list. Get the ID from the each and compare with the target ID. Target ID when the customer or the users which are submitting. So we need to go with this option, member object from the member list, all the members object from the member list. Get ID we need to compare to each one. So we'll get the target ID. This is the one option to issue the book. Another option 2. So this is simple, just delegate the entire responsibility to member list. So here option 1, which places too much detail of the implementation in library classes or library, which is undesirable. So option 2 is more attractive because search is natural operation that is performed on the particular container. So usually the option 2 will be preferable. So this is the sequence diagram for issuing book. So now we can see this, how many classes need to be taken and the timeline process and the data request to the interface and request by the system, and the clerk need to give the input. So whenever we need to issue the book, so here interface that system will ask the data request. So the clerk will feed that or input yes given member ID. So the sequence diagram for the issuing a book member ID is the must. So validation will be going on because ID is the must, which will be I told in the search membership in the member list. So that the member object will be there in that search member is equal to search member ID is the main member object in that we need to check it. So book is equal to search book ID. So where we can get the book ID from the catalog is the must here. So we need to issue the book, how many book can be issued. So here looping will be there because one customer or one person or user, they can issue more number of books. So here the first one is the interface, then followed by timeline process, then class library, main class library class, then followed by timeline interface, timeline process, and the class book. Next is the book class, and we need to take the catalog class and a member and a member list. So here whenever request from the user interface, so which will feed by the clerk, so member ID. So there we need to search membership method, that is the member ID will be searched in the library. So that will go to the member is equal to member search directly, which will fetching the details or compare the data of this ID to the member list. So once we got that one, so the library will be returns to the yes, member is valid. Then issuing a book will be started. So this process is started. So again, data request. So from the to the clerk, then clerk will enter the data request about book ID. So book ID, which book is going to issue. So issue book ID, then followed by comma, member ID is the must. So here there is a object we need to create, that book is equal to search book ID. So this will be searched in the main catalog classes, because all the books are available in the catalog classes. That is member equal to search member ID. So which will be sent to the again in the member list. Then return type, here we need to take the boolean value. So issue book, whether book are going to issue or not to the particular customer. So boolean equal to issue member. So that's the book. Small object is created here, book object, and followed by member catalog in the member. So member is created again. So then we need to return to the book. So result is the book has been issued. So that again we will arise the question here, more book. So we told that in the previous, more number of book can be taken by the same customer. So issuing a book depending upon the rules of the library management system. So here whether the more number of book can be issued or not, yes or no. So the loop will be begins here. So once the loop will be start again, which will the data request from the user interface, that is the systems, then which will be entered by the library staff, or we can say it is the clerk. So here user interface receives a reference to the member object from the library. So and then queries whatever which will be start actor or the IDs of the book. So in deeply, so in the library we are providing a method issuing a book single book to the user in case. So user interface here invoke this method repeatedly in order to issue several book to the user. So this is the time for passing the member ID and the book ID as a particular parameters. So once again here, searching for the book object is delegated to a catalog, because catalog will have all the books details of the in the library management system. So next here, the book and member object which are updated, whatever we created that is updated to indicate that book is checked out to the member. So that is nothing but the member is a possession of the particular book. So here one thing we can notice that one, actually the library class orchestrate the whole show and all act as a go between for all the operations, so that the user interface UI request from the business logic model, that we had the two major subclasses of this one, assigning the responsibility to this library management system. One is so we had the business logic. So this is the all the process will be going on business logic process. So this timeline will be continued and loop will be continued. So this is the so simple the way of representing sequentially issuing a book, how we can issue the book and what and all data are important, and how the actor can be performed is that here it is nothing but library stuff, and how the systems are responding to the user request. So this is the complete scenario of sequence diagram for issuing a book. So now we will continue with the next sequence diagram is return books. So for each book return, the return book method of library class obtain the corresponding book object from the catalog class. So here The return book method, which is invoked using the book object what we created. So this is method returns the member object corresponding to member who had borrowed it. So those who have borrowed that book, the member object corresponding to the particular member. So we need to that check it the book object. So with the book ID return book. So the return book method of the member object is now called record that book has been written. So whether the book has been written or not. So that we need to check. So this return book member. So now we called it that a book has been written. So this operation has actually three possible outcomes of the use case requires the system which has to distinguish. One is the book ID is whatever the book ID is valid, which would result in an operational being unsuccessful. So successful or unsuccessful depending upon the book ID. Another is whether operation was successful. So this is called a successful operations whether book ID is valid. In case of invalid, that is unsuccessful. Another, the operation is successful and there is a hold on the particular book. So anybody which customers can hold a particular book to the from to end date certain date. So that is the hold on a particular book. The value is written, the return book must, so which enable the user interface to make the distinction between the these cases. Actually this is done by having library main class library class return the result of the particular code, which could always be a simple one of three what is the named integer constant. So this is we need to know that. And next we will see this diagrammatical representation of sequence diagram for returning books. So this is the loop will be there by this the in a rectangular shape that. So why we had taken a loop, because customer or user or any student, they can return more number of books, whether they have to return another book. So accept the process holding the books. So return book request, so the data request from the user interface. So the book ID will be given by the staff here, clerk or the library staff book ID. So I told that book ID is the main. So here return book method will be there, the book ID. So now it will go to the library classes. Their catalog is important because the catalog classes will have all the details of the book. So we need to take the search method in the book ID. So whether the book is there or not. Member equal to return book and boolean has hold. So there is a one flag will be there here. The boolean values. Why we need to check whether anybody or any customer has hold on a particular book or not. So that we need to check it. So that's why boolean equal to return book. That is the return book method of book object. So it will be again return type is integer. Yes, the return type is integer. How many? What is the return book on to whatever the result? Yes, one book has returned, two book has returned three. So the return type is in integer. The result is having. We need to check that yes, more number of books need to be returned. Yes or no. So loop will be repeating here. So the customer again will ask the library staff asks the details about the book ID. So that is the data request sent by the system process. Then return book depends upon the book ID. So which will be search in the catalog. So member object, that member of the book, whether they need to check the when variable that it has hold. Is there anybody hold about another book? So that will be checked in the book classes. Then boolean type is return the book. Yes, this number or this one book has written, another book has written, like that. So repetition will be started. So this is the complete sequentially from one class to the another class. Finally, how many book has been written. So this is the sequence diagram for returning book. So the next we need to continue with this sequence diagram, that is remove books. So actually the remove books, as we have discussed in the use case, so we remove only those books that are not checked out and do not have a hold. No one should hold that book, and which are not checked out in the particular books class. So actually this logic for deciding whether the book is removable, so removable is in the remove book methods in the main library classes. So remove book we had discussed in the previous videos. The authority has given to the library staff. Why? Because whether that customer has not interested to study that particular book, or that book has been updated, revised versions, or there may be some changes in the book, or there may be a scheme changes for the syllabuses. So that book has to remove, that authority has given to the chief library staff. So this is the method, that is the remove books. So this is the complete a sequence diagram for removing books. As I told that, so here also how many books can be removed. There is a more number of book can be removed. So obviously we need to go for the looping. So why looping is required? Because of the more number of book can be removed. So here again user interface, then followed by the main library class, and the basically timelines and book and the catalogs. So here there is a X mark symbol destroy. So that book has not book has been removed from the major in the catalog. That's we have given the destroy command. So destroy. So here the clerk and again the system responses. So at the data request, again clerk will input the book ID. So remove book method will be used here. We are creating that as the remove book. Okay. So actually remove book, that is this method which check the property of the book, whatever all the properties which are satisfied remove. So which are method in the catalog, mean major catalog, which is invoked. So which then removes the entire book. And here we had seen that I have told that the square bracket of before invocation remove, what is the condition, remove condition that can delete the book. So this is the in between this diagram we had taken. So this is the only what we can say the library. The library actually main class returns specific code for each possible outcome, which user interface always translate into appropriate message. So here this the member get borrower book can delete book, or the remove book, other name you can say the remove, yes, remove or delete it. So particular author or book has been already not interested to buy also and to issue the book. The library chief can be that delete or remove the particular book. So similarly loop will be continued. So as I told that as more number of book can be removed, yes or not. So in that case we need to remove the particular book. So this is the complete diagrammatical or sequentially one by one representation of sequence diagram for removing books. So next we will going to discuss member transactions. So this is as we have seen in the use case table wise discussion, how that member transaction and why, and what is the important of member transaction, because 1 day, 2 day or 1 week, how many duration or what and all the borrowed or return book as a hold, I usually remove that hold. So all the data transaction or the member transaction for each member, so we'll get in the member transaction details. So here member transaction, this can be done by we need to define the a class transaction. That is the major thing here, which always stores the type of the transaction. I told that it is the issue, return, place, remove, or whatever all the related to the books which will be stored in the member what is the member transaction classes. Actually the date, the title of the book in bold, so this is the very important from on to date or 1 day transaction or 1 week or 115 days. So similarly, rules and regulation governed by this library management system that we need to take is the member transaction detail. So which member which has stored the list of transactions which are method get transaction. So we are going to use the get transaction method. So which always returns the enumeration. Enumeration indicates that is an iteration uh, between all the details of the transaction, or that is the transaction object whose data always match to the one specified. The specified means the sense user or the customer, or we can say the student, they can specify the particular what is the member transactions for their own transaction, which always in the enumeration or iterator of the transaction object has to be, which the date has to be specified in particularly. So the library class finally which returns to the UI user interface, which extract and displays the needed information the in front of the or which are given which are to available to the clerk, and then the member what is the customer can get all the details about the transactions. So this is the sequence diagram for usually member transaction, that is the printing, all the details will be printed here. So printing transactions, so here a clerk so in this case no loop will be there, because uh, particular member only one transaction will be printed here, so no repetition will be there for. So whatever the days may be from to date, 1 day, 2 day, or week, or 15 days, so that will be the only one transaction, one printout will be taken, so no more repetition will be here. So usually here get transaction method data request, I told that member id and the date is the must here, followed by the id followed by date, because from or to date or on particular date interface will be asking that all data request. Get transaction method will be taking member id and a date to the main library classes. So I told that member is the search member, so member id in the member list. So iterator will be used as enumerator, so we had taken in the discussion, that is the enumerator. So get transaction of date in the particular member. So then finally iterator will be uh, giving iterator. Why? Because the all the row or particular column is all the details will be printed, so all the transaction will be printed. Then the user can get the what is the needed information, what he had expected, so all the details information will be getting. So one thing we need to remember, there is no loop will be exist in a sequence diagram for printing member transactions. So this is the sequentially representing, that is the sequence diagram for printing transaction, or generally sequence diagram for member transactions. Now continued with place hold. So this is the place hold a particular book whichever the customer interested in the library. So they can place a hold of particular book. So whenever this hold, that time no one can uh, return, or no one can issue, because this that book has been held by the one person, even though we had just discussed about transactions, so no one can give that transaction about this, because once they hold, they need to take it from the all the details. Once they remove hold, they can place a remove hold, then that book is available to all the other process in the actual library management system. So here we create a separate hold class for representing the holds, so which will be held by the any other customer whichever they are interested, placed by members each hold objects. So creating that hold, or that is the particular hold, that object stores the reference to a member object and a book object, so and the date when the hold expires. So how many days can a customer hold, how much, that is the duration will be given, 1 week, 15 days, or 1 month. It's all comes under the library frame lines, or rules and regulation framed by the library management system. So actually place hold. So here when a clerk issue a request to the library to a place hold on behalf of member for a certain book, any customer, the library here, the library object itself create an instance of the hold, and which makes the both book and member instance in order to store the reference to it. So the UI user interface is informed outcome of the result code. So here the another thing, one possibility is that the book and member create their own individualized hold object with a book hold class, which store the date and reference to a particular member, and member hold storing the data and reference to a particular book. So this is the case, such a solution which is less preferable because it create additional classes. So we need to create an additional classes required. So if not carefully implemented, so we could lead inconsistency due to multiple copies of the data. So this is the one issue will be there, and whenever we need to place it. So this is the case, only the inconsistency will be occurring here due to whenever that multiple copies of the same date. So this is the placeholder that problem. So now we'll see the sequence or sequence diagram for what is that one, placing a hold. So here that no looping will be there, so all the process will be stopped there after the library class. So we need to take the member list, catalog, member and book class. So after the interface, this is the data request and replay and response from this user interface. So the place hold here, member id, book id, duration will be taken. This is the date wise duration, might be the 2 days, 1 day, for 3 days, whatever the date, so that we need to take it. So here then the library main class, that member equal to, so we have to create that. So member equal to search member id in the member list. So that is the method we have taken. A book is equal to search book id. So that is the search book id will be searching in the catalog classes. Here the get borrower method will be used in the members. A member of borrower equal to get borrower. So from the book object or classes that we need to take it. So borrower not equal to null, there is a condition we need to check it in that one, book borrower. So whenever that borrower not equal to null, hold the particular member, book and date need to be checked here. So that is the another here which we need to take a hold classes, that we need to check it very properly. Place a hold, or place a hold of that one, we need to check again. Place a hold into the particular member, place a hold to the catalog because we need to check it in the book, place a hold for the member. So this timeline process will be continued. So the return type is integer. So result as how many book can be placed holding it. So each customer, depending upon the library rules, whatever the regulation, so he can hold the number of books. So again, once again, we will very clarify it here. So this is the sequence diagram for placing a hold, followed by the actor and the user interface and the library class, then rest all whatever we had taken, that is member list, catalog, member. So there is no looping process, because this is the individual details about placing a particular book or whatever it is, the individual member. So this is the one complete scenario diagrammatical representation of sequence diagram for placing a hold. So the next will continue with one more is, after the place a hold, the next we need to take it at remove hold. So here remove hold, so a request issued to a library via a method is remove hold. So actually library which retrieves the corresponding member and book object using member list and catalog, so which is then invokes the remove hold method of this object to delete their reference to the particular hold the object. So that we need to check it very carefully in case of that is the remove hold. So the using the member list and the actually catalog, then invoke the remove hold methods. So on this object to delete their reference to the hold object, whatever they are referring to the hold object, that we need to be deleted. It is very carefully we need to say take it that remove hold. So now we'll see that the sequence diagram, the sequence diagram for removing a hold. This is similar to the placing a hold. Again, there is no looping will be existing in this diagrammatical sequential diagrammatical representation. So the same thing, remove hold is the data request of the user interface, and actor will be inputting the data is the member ID and the book ID is the must here. Then main library class remove hold member ID and the book ID. In that another member equal to, so the method here member equal to search member id in the particular member list classes. Book is equal to search book id is the must, because in the catalog we need to check it. So then followed by boolean has taken, that is the whether they are removing the hold, somebody has who is somebody having the hold, that we need to remove it. Boolean type is equal to remove hold of member id will be taken. So then followed by that members, what member, so the book id will be taken here. Boolean is equal remove hold of the which book holded, so that we need to remove it in the particular person or the customer or the any other things, that is we need to take it. So the return type is usually integer. Yes, whether the result is saying that whether you have removed the particular book, yes, actually no repetition will be start for particular member, so that we need to take it as another additional request. So again clerk will ask that one to the customer or the user, so they need to give the details about I told that this member id and followed by the book id. Again remove hold, that process will be begins in the user interface, which will ask the data request, again which will feed into the clerk, feed it by the clerk. Then remove hold method will be taken, it is the member id book id to the main library class, so that will be go to the member equal to member object, that is the member equal to search member id in the member list. Book is equal to search book id in the main catalog. Then boolean type, boolean is equal to remove hold or the member id in the book list. Then finally member is the return type in the particular which member has the particular removing a hold, who has hold that one, that will be removed. So this is the complete sequence diagram representation of removing a hold.